We are live. Mm, 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 mm. Y'all know I have to send this out to my people. Please share this live, everyone. Let them know it's another night of wine glass conversations. My God. Okay, let me see. Let me pull you on, Nick. Oh, let me do this. Okay, wait. Okay. Let me get you on. Let me get you on. Hi, Nick.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Oh
We
my God.
are finally here.
We are, and I have to work on better lighting
That's okay,
because
my dear. Oh, wait, you want a Hennessy tonight, honey?
very, I'm feeling
Marvelous.
Henny-ish.
You feeling Henny-ish?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a shot for making it. Let me pour it. Did you pour your shot already?
I did. I want to be a
You
little
did?
extra, but I
Oh,
want to try.
okay. See, you way ahead of me. Look, I'm like opening the bottle and shit. Look, I ain't gonna put this in a big ass shot glass, so we just gonna do a little swig. Let's take a shot. You gotta set. Remember to send. Did you get to send it out to your peoples real quick?
Yeah, okay, share.
Yeah, you could just
All
go
right.
and just pop them in there. Pop them in there.
All right. Got it. I got my glass up.
Yes.
And all right.
All right. So let's take a shot. Cheers to great
Cheers.
conversations.
Absolutely.
And yes, great conversation and just life itself.
Correct. All right. Cheers.
Yes, yes, yes.
Woo.
Ooh, child.
Like grown people.
I
The
don't think I could ever
grownness.
take a shot and not be like, ooh.
I'm feeling extra grown, but I have my glass of wine too, ready as
Yes.
well.
You know what's so funny? I don't think we've ever like drank at the salon, like me and you. I
We
think
haven't.
we get so deep into conversation.
We do.
We get so deep into conversation. It's like I don't even remember to be like, you want some wine? You want some wine, Dick?
And I'll be like, yes, please. Thank you.
Right?
Wine glass
I got
conversations
you
at the
next time, I
salon.
promise.
Awesome.
So I want us to get started because I know that we could get real long-winded. Once me and you get together,
Very true. This is
we could get
true.
we could get so long-winded. So let me just get started. So I want to introduce Nick, guys. He is a client of mine. He wears many hats. He is such an amazing soul. He's an entertainer, host for different parties and events. You have your
Music.
regular job that you do, right?
Well, I have my music out now. So I'm an
Yes.
artist. I'm a musician. And yes, my regular job now has shifted. So I know we'll get into that.
Yes.
I know we're going to get
Yes, we
into
will get into it.
that.
Yes, yes, yes. Tykes Nation said yes, he is. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. So I wanted us to first. I always like to start off with my guests talking about their childhood, and I know for a fact that you have an interesting childhood, right? And if y'all ain't know, Nick is a part of the LGBTQ plus committee, so he's going to talk about that as well, and growing up and basically blossoming into who he is today while being a part of that committee. So tell me
Yeah.
how. Let's basically start. Let's start middle school. Let's start
Okay.
there. Let's tell me how pretty much everything started once you started to figure out who you were.
Middle school is where I first started to somewhat figure out, who I was and how I identified. And all I can remember from middle school is kicking butt and taking names. Like they called me Nick Tyson.
Oh, Wait, you was getting into a lot of fights?
Yes, they were because because well, at that time in middle school I was a little bit more flamboyant, um, and it was just a natural thing for me. I did not like
Mm-hmm.
it because it did create a lot of attention, and so I remember in middle school having to stand 10 toes down to not be bullied. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember, like in the seventh grade, I would fight, get suspended. I would be back for like 2 days, fought again, get suspended. Yeah, it was literally like that for the entire year. And then what happened is I failed the seventh grade as a result of not being there. But my mom, and it's Women's Month, so shout out to all the women, shout out to all the mothers. I definitely
Yes.
celebrate you all. So my mom, she went to the school. I don't know what she did, but she got me. There was a deal, like, okay, well, we'll move him to the eighth grade because I was really depressed after that. But he has to maintain like a 3.0 grade point average. I earned a 4.0 grade point average, and excelled from that moment on. I decided to move differently after that moment, because it was not a good feeling,
Mm-hmm.
failing a grade and having to go through that experience. Thankfully, my mom was able to do what she did, what women do, what mothers
Mm-hmm.
do, and I was able to graduate with my class. But yeah, that was me. Um, and here I am transitioning, after the eighth grade, the ninth grade. I had built a
Mm-hmm.
reputation of don't mess with him. And again, that was important because of me being a gay male,
Mm-hmm.
and that being like a weird thing, especially back then. So I feel like now I have went through that journey for a purpose because now I'm able to tell a different story.
Mm-hmm. So when you found it, like, so pretty much you had already came out by middle school.
I never can, and that's the thing, I have not ever come out and say, "Hey, y'all, I'm gay," because it just was never
Oh,
me.
so they
So
naturally just seen it. It was
they
just
knew.
more
Oh
so
yeah, I was
they
very
just knew.
flamboyant.
So did you, when you would get into these fights, would you tell your mom, like, Mom, I don't want to keep fighting, but I don't have no choice?
No, I was scared to have the conversation of the why for the fights because she was all, "Well, what happened?" and why. And so yeah, I was always a little nervous about sharing that with her, and I never did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Because I'm thinking this whole time she knew why you were getting it. Does she know today why you were getting it?
We never talked about it, and and I just never had the conversation. Hey, mom, I'm gay. How it
Yeah.
happened was she had a stroke, several years ago, and
Mhm.
I, being the child that's here, had to. Well, I started to take care of her, and at that
Mhm.
time, I was with my partner, and we lived together, and I was
Mhm.
like, well, this is going to be interesting because I've never had a conversation with her about my sexuality because I moved on. Like I moved out of my mom's house at 15, and right.
Mm.
So, and she took care of, my bills for like the first year. I moved back home. We were getting into it because she was trying to find out if I was gay. Um, and then
Mm.
I moved with my brother and I stayed with him. And then, yeah, I've been independent basically since 16. So we never had the
Mm.
conversation. She had her stroke, and it was weird
Right.
because I was meditating and I was reflecting on why are things a certain way. And I reflected on the relationship
Yeah.
with my mom. And I felt like I feel like I don't know my mom. There's so many years I missed with her
Mm.
when I left
Yeah.
at 15. And
Mhm.
interestingly, she had the stroke, and I had to move her
Mm.
down with me. So it allowed me an opportunity to get to know her. So the universe
Talk to
listens
her.
to us. I have to share that. The
Yes.
universe listens to us. And so there was an opportunity created where I got to know my mom and understand why she parented the way she did.
Mm. Okay. Okay. And when you did when you did tell her, was she like, I already knew, or was it more so like,
Well, actually, what
well, pretty
happened
much she
was,
already knew.
right, she knew, but what had happened was, so when she came, when she came, I had pictures up. We had pictures up, and she saw the pictures, and she
Oh.
started looking around, and she saw more than one, and she said, "Am I gonna like him?" That's all she asked. I was like, "I don't know."
Oh
I
my
don't
God. You
know,
know what's so
but that's how that
funny?
happened.
It's like they don't know how to like navigate, you know? So they
Right.
just try to
Correct.
find the best way to say what they can without hurting our
Correct.
feelings.
Correct.
And that was just her confirmation of just saying, okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Am I just gonna like him?
And yeah, and then we went through a spell where in that relationship, she created a lot of havoc because I can understand for her, first
Yeah.
experience in learning of my sexuality was having to live with me after a stroke. So it's like she was
Mm.
forced to deal with it and she wasn't
Yeah.
dealing well. But I thank God for who he
Right.
created me to be. I was understanding and empathetic of that, but it
Yeah.
was not a smooth ride. She and my
Okay.
ex would get into it because she would pick on him. And he would come and tell me, and I would say, okay, I'm gonna start paying attention. And I
Yeah.
did, and I would hear her picking on him. Like he would walk into another room and I would hear her like pick on him. And then after her stroke, there was a part of her cognitive and her awareness of being sensitive. That part was gone. The stroke took that right out. She had no clue. She said what she wanted to say, how she wanted to say it. And so that was a issue because I was like, I couldn't reason with her because a part of the reasoning in the brain after the stroke, it was impaired. Like she lost all reasoning
Mm.
skills. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it was a very difficult, stressful environment. And it was
Yeah.
7 years, me and my partner were together.
Yeah.
And she was with us that, like 6 of the
He said,
7
no,
years.
Miss Jackie.
That's my bestie. He knows. He knows. So,
Wow. Oh my God.
yeah.
So that is such an interesting story. And it's so good that you kept that empathy in you to kind of just understand her. So basically you had to tell your partner, like, listen, like she's just gonna do this. This is new for her.
No,
Just
that was not
try to
acceptable
adjust.
to
Try.
me. No, 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 no. Because my thing is respect. Everyone deserves respect. She's going to have to respect
Mm,
you, and you're going to have to respect her, mother or not. Because what I do
yeah.
know as an individual, mom, there are certain things that a mother can do for their child, and there's certain things that a mother cannot, right? And for
Right.
anyone to be happy, they have to learn how to be able to separate the two, right? Separate
Mm,
those
yeah.
two. And to me,
Yeah.
the core or the foundation was respect. He must respect you and you must respect him as well. And that is how I operated. And that was the expectation I set
Mhm.
in the household. It was challenging. It was difficult. Obviously, because it's my mother, there were certain things that I would struggle with overlooking. But it would,
Mhm.
it would come to a point where I had to call house meetings. And I was like, I never had to do stuff like this. This is, but yeah, have a house meeting.
She was in there ready to put some rat poison
Disturb
in.
baby, she was disturbing the peace like Ludacris. It was going down. It was going down in there. And I decided, I said, in 2019, when I did another life-changing experience for myself, I said, no, 2018, I said, when I go into 2019, I'm not going into that year with the same stuff. And I don't care who it is because what's most important is my peace.
Mm,
What people don't understand, mother, father, daddy, sister, or brother, is the behavior that they demonstrate impacts the person that they are demonstrating it
mm,
against, right? And if you are not going to
yes.
protect me, if you are not going to protect me, then I have to protect myself. You understand?
Correct.
Because we are human, and sometimes there
Hmm.
are forces that operate in humans, whether it be a family member or not. And you just have to be woke and aware that, am I gonna tolerate this?
Right.
How does this behavior benefit me? Does it help me
Benefit
or is it
me.
hurting me? And it was more
Right.
hurt than helping. And so I had to make a decision for myself. I'm gonna stand up for me.
Yeah. So you set the temperature with that. You was like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna
Correct.
work. Okay.
And
So
then again, I'm tolerant. We know that because it went on for 6 years, so we know that I'm a tolerable person. But I was trying to find ways, and I like being tolerable because when I make a firm decision, I like to be able to look
yeah.
back and say that decision was the best decision, and I gave it all that I could give.
All you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
you were with him and she was in the house living with y'all for 6 years.
Yes.
Oh my God, no, you must I wanted to pull your hair out.
Yeah.
So it didn't take the full 6 years though for her to adjust.
No, and she didn't adjust till after he and I separated. Oh, she loved
Not
the
let him play with
chaos.
you.
Right, girl. Like, oh,
She
that's her
just like, I ain't
bestie.
gonna be living in the house with this man. Dude,
Child,
damn, that's
listen.
that old school mentality,
It
boy.
is.
That
It
old school.
is. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So middle school, went through high school and everything. I want to jump into when you started to work, because I know I want to get into specifically when you worked for American Express,
All right.
right? So what age did you start working for American Express?
Well, I don't remember what age, but I worked there. I started in 2010. I'm like, oh, I can calculate that, but then I'm telling my age. But yeah,
Yeah.
2010. You're in my business. Don't do that. No, I'm not talking to you. But no, 2010 is when I started with them.
Okay. And I know that I remember you telling me that that was one of your, that was like pretty much like one of the best jobs that basically molded you into who you are today. Right. And
Yes.
one of, one of the, because at the end of the day, this is going to tie into entrepreneurship, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that one of the things that you spoke about was your problem solving capability there.
Mm-hmm.
How did you take what you learned at American Express with your problem solving capability, and just pretty much understanding how to deal with deal with different situations. How did you take
Mm-hmm.
that and bring it into your entrepreneurship lifestyle?
Got it. Great question. American Express,
Mhm.
as many could probably imagine, is a place where you have your platinum card members, you got your black card members. And that is a high end, I would call it clientele. And so naturally they expect the best from every, person who represents the brand of American Express. So they teach you about having integrity. They teach you about how to be an ambassador. They teach you about your brand and how to represent yourself. So there's a lot of those things that I learned. It's almost like, I won't say forced because I was open and willing to learn, but it forces you to become a person of integrity, of ethics.
Mm,
If that is something that you already possess, because I know I have worked with people in the same building that lacked integrity or lacked ethics. But for me, because I was called to do a greater work, God had me open to be a person to receive and to learn. Because what I learned in the
mm,
environment is that not everybody there is helping someone. And the purpose that I've been given was to inspire, to encourage, to
mm,
motivate. And in that environment, that was my platform. I started, I didn't start as a trainer, but I became a trainer, and where I connected with people. And all of those people would come back and they would say to me, because of how you led, because of how you taught, this is what I'm doing now. I am now an analyst. I am now a manager in this department. I am now your peer. I'm a trainer. So there were so many different things that happened as a result of me being in that environment that I knew, God, you placed me here. Because when I looked around, I'm very
mm,
observant. I didn't see others putting the front line first. Like if someone was failing,
mm,
they were quick to say, well, you didn't pass the training, fired, have a nice one.
mm.
My way of
Right.
thinking was, this is a person potentially with a family. This is a person with responsibility. So our
Yeah.
responsibility is to help them be successful. And if they are
Wow.
not connecting to the business model of training, then we should break it down. A real leader knows how to lead
Right.
and knows how to connect with the
Mm,
people that they are leading. And I feel
mm,
like because I had that passion for people, that's why I was placed in that environment. How it has helped me today in my new environment, everything that I went through, it reminded me that I am here to help, that I'm here to inspire, that I'm here
mm,
to motivate, and that American Express was just a stepping stone for me to do that, for me to learn some basic fundamentals. Now, if I allow God and the universe to take me there, it's bigger. Hey, brother, I see you,
mm.
Malik. Love and Hip Hop Miami. So it's
Hey.
taken me bigger. You know what I'm saying? The people that need to hear the wisdom that God gave me for a person who can relate to a story such as mine can now
Mm,
can now get it, and they can get it with
right.
integrity. So thank you, American
Mm,
Express, and thank you, every other job. And I went through a very traumatic experience at American Express that resulted in me having to have therapy because I couldn't believe that I could be in an environment that's so esteemed and so professional, where people lacked integrity. I never
mm,
imagined that I would be a victim of the Karens in the work environment, where
mm.
Karens would partner together and concoct a story that there's no truth, where I defend myself with facts and written facts. And you have
Right.
VPs and directors looking at that like we're going to stand behind the director. So it taught me how to also be strong and how to be resilient. And so when I'm out
Mm,
here and I'm on the front line,
hmm. You basically know how to navigate it.
right? Because I still get
Mm,
emotional about it because I still can't believe that humans would be so cruel. Like it was a big thing.
right,
It
right.
was just so shocking to me. But yeah, so I'm here and
Mm,
I have a purpose. I'm living in it. I'm
right.
standing in it. Yeah.
Now, was that pretty much because you were just a black man, or was it because of what you represented? You know, was it because you were a black gay man, or was it because you were just a black man that they just felt as if they could pick on you, or
hmm
you know?
Well, I wouldn't, unless they communicated, I would know. But if I had to put the pieces together or do the math, I would say
Mm-hmm.
that it first starts with me being a black man. It starts there first
Mm,
because there's a certain thing as white privilege in the corporate America environment as well. And
mm,
once and I dealt with people who felt the opportunity to take advantage of that white privilege because what they did was lied on me, and I happened to be a black man, but not just any black man, a black gay man. They
right.
would say that we talked about things that we never talked about in meetings, like in our one-to-ones. And what they didn't know, I'm so skilled and I'm so gifted. All of our calls, because I
Mm-hmm.
was working from home, all of our calls are recorded, even the ones between manager to manager. So I went back and
Oh,
I listened to those calls because I had access as a
yeah.
leader. I was like, wait a minute. This heathen said that I knew it didn't happen, but I couldn't back it up until I came across the recordings of our meeting. And the stuff that they were
Right.
saying, I was like, I would go to the director and be like, you can go back and you can listen to these calls. I've already done so. None of this happened.
Mm,
And they did
mm.
nothing. They did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing to the person that was accusing you.
Nope. Stood behind them, honey. So I'm living like that's why I said I needed therapy because I was like, the street version of me. Remember, I used to be called Nick Tyson, but I couldn't do that in a professional setting, right? But the street
You could
version
have been
of
like, meet me
me,
outside.
correct. The
Right.
street version of me became a mental fight and a mental battle and emotional
Mm,
distress.
right. But that, at the end of the day, it strengthened you because with you going through therapy and everything,
Absolutely,
um, and learning, from basically learning from those experiences,
absolutely,
a lot of the times. So for me, a lot of the times when I go through like things that want to tear me down,
hmm
at the moment it's so hard to say if you're not really spiritually inclined and in tune with yourself and the universe and what's going on. It's hard for you to say this is an experience, this too shall pass.
hmm
What am I learning from this and how can I move forward?
hmm hmm
That's Veronica.
right.
Hello. So with that happening, were you at that mental capacity? So it took therapy to basically show you that this is just something that's happening that's unfortunate, but take this experience and use it to better you for the future. Was that something that you learned in therapy? Because sometimes people will go in therapy and it doesn't work, especially
Right.
if it's. Mhm.
So what
So
happened for
was it
me?
more so? Mhm.
So the therapy was basically a place where I got to communicate stuff that I held in because I always believed and I had learned growing up that when someone asks you how things are going, you always say things are going great.
Right.
So I was accustomed to things are going
Right.
great. Things are going great. How are you? Great. I'm excellent. I'm phenomenal. And I
Right.
grew up doing that. And so therapy helped me to release, no, it ain't okay. No, it ain't going great. Here's what's
Mm.
happening, right? So I was able to release that. Me always being a spiritual person anyway, I connected to, yes, there is purpose in this storm. There is something that I'm supposed to take away. But in the moment when you're fighting, because I was fighting
Yeah.
every day in an environment, I would come in and I would have anxiety. Me being
Mm.
the confident, bold, fun, energetic person is now in an environment where they're like nervous. What's
You're
next?
on defense mode.
Defense mode, needles, eggshells, all of the above.
Yeah.
So, but the beauty now, when I look back, it's so interesting that when I meditate, which I do daily, the inner
Yes.
spirit told me this is a situation that blocks your chakras. That experience, while traumatic, while hurtful, is a learning
Yes.
experience for you to show
Yes.
you your
Yes.
strength, right? Because it's how
Mm.
you respond to a situation can determine the
Yes.
outcome. How are you going to
Yes.
respond? And I had to make a
Yes.
firm
Yes.
decision that I am going to be continuously resilient, that I'm not going
Right.
to allow this mountain to stop me, because the mountain actually is your opportunity to self reflect and look at
But
yourself. What do
mm,
you
mm,
allow to hurt you? What do you allow to
right.
have power and authority over you? These are the
Over
things
you.
that you need to let go, because the environments that I
Yes.
need you to operate in,
Yeah.
you can't come here with that baggage. It's like going into the White House, honey, and you got mud on your shoes and you're trying to walk through the front door. No, you can't come here like that, baby.
Mm.
So
Yes.
all that
Yes.
mud, all that dirt, clean that off,
Right.
because there is a
Before
place
you
for
enter that
you.
space.
Yes.
Mm. Mm. So they have a phrase. There's a saying that goes, "Life is." I think it goes, "Life is 90% of what life is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% of what you do about it." Something like that.
Mm.
Because
I don't know the numbers, but I do know that they ask those questions like in job interviews and like just
mhm.
self evaluations. They ask you questions. Do you believe that things happen to you or for you
For
or
you.
whatever, something like that?
Because they want to make sure that you would know how to handle a situation that occurs, and how would you it's not even about handling, it's how would you handle it.
Yeah.
um
And they want to
but
challenge your thought process.
yes, that's true. That is 100% true. 100% true. So let me get into the next one real quick. So this was kind of long, right? Now I know that, like you just mentioned, meditating. And it's funny because the line of my questions is like pretty much you touched base on it like right before, so everything is like aligned properly. um so you basically said that you get into meditation and stuff like that. I'm into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
What when did you have a time of your life where you really said, you know what, I am really getting into this more. I'm really going to tap into my spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
When was a peak of your life that almost took you over edge? I know American Express was one of them, but did you have any other moments in your life where you were just like, you know what, God, it's me and you now?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
How
I
what
will
what?
say, I would say during the pandemic,
Mm,
the one thing is I have since 8. At 8 is when I had the spiritual gift and the spiritual voice at 8,
mm-hmm,
where I was being led by my thoughts, and the Holy Spirit comes to you in the form of your thoughts,
mm,
and so I know from 8 that's when I was called. 15, that's when I was advocating, like I was so advanced in things that I would say and know at 15. But
mm-hmm.
during the pandemic and after American Express, it really put me in a position to say, the Spirit spoke to me, this is the time to press play,
Mm,
because you're realizing that you are bigger. See, sometimes people think that the job that they're at, that's where they're supposed to be. And a lot of those
mm-hmm.
people work with others that say, you're just no, you should be, or you just in this role? No, you should be, right? So I was one of those persons who would get that a lot. No, you should be. And it takes you to realize who you are.
Mm,
because
Mm.
I was not realizing I used to be a person of contentment. I'm content. My
Mhm.
bills are paid. I'm driving the cars that I want. I live in the place that I want to live. I can buy what I want to buy. I was content. But
Right.
there is more. And then I started to think, wait a minute, there's people out there making $100,000 a year. Wait, there's people out there making $200,000 a year. Why am I content?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
For what?
Mm.
You understand?
Right.
And it's not a glutton thing because there are people who believe the love of money. Yeah, the love of money in the wrong with the wrong intent. Because everything is about
With the
intent.
wrong intent.
That can impact who you are and who you become. But see, my intent
Yes.
is to help people. I realize even more so now that what God has been doing with me throughout my experiences and throughout my entire journey was literally preparing me to be one of the voices to speak
Mm.
and to share because there is someone out there who identifies like me that needs to be reached. And when I say
That needs to be
identify
reached.
like me, I don't want anyone to limit that to being a person of the LGBTQ experience. No, that's not what I mean.
Mhm.
I'm still a Black person, I'm still a
Exactly.
male, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm.
there's gay. So anyone who can identify as a minority,
Right.
there are things out there that they're not getting, that they're not receiving, that they're not connecting to. And I know
True.
I've gone to many different churches and I heard the same sermon from the same people, but that one pastor said it or taught it in a way that I connected to, right?
Yes.
So there's room for
Yes.
all of us. And I understand my purpose even more so now, especially after American Express and during the pandemic.
Mm. Wow. And because I think for a lot of people, the pandemic brought them closer to God.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to be closer to God and to say, okay, let me figure this out more. Let me really get into it, because a lot of people they find themselves doing that and then they drift off. you know
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I think people like you and I, we have a reason to stay connected to the
Yeah.
divine, you know
Yes.
and I think that's so important, because I feel like as soon as you drift is when there's turmoil, you know
Correct.
and
Correct.
and that's when all the crazy stuff starts to happen. So what keeps you there with him, like.
Excellent question.
Mhm.
Every day, I mean, every single day, I am glad to state
Mhm.
that I'm always being spoken to. I connect with my inner spirit every single
Mm.
day, and nuggets and gems are being dropped constantly. What I've
Yes.
gotten into the habit of doing now is writing them down. I would receive it and okay, but I write it down now because God has prepared me for something else. And yesterday, God said, spoke to me and was like, you know why people fall by the wayside? Just let me give an analogy that people can relate to. When you sow a seed, something is
Mhm.
supposed to happen after you sow that seed. There's
Mm.
action on your part, and then there's the
Mm.
law of and then there's the law of nature. Your part is watering the seed that you planted. So if you say, you know what, I want to be a actor or a multimillionaire, whatever it is, whatever seed that you plant,
Mhm.
you have to water that just like you have to water anything else, the law of nature. And the reason that you did not receive is because you stopped watering. That's your action.
Listen, I have to take a sip to that.
Real stuff. And let me tell you, every day I fall in love with God and just I fall in love every day because these things that are coming to me, I'm like, okay, I get it. Whoa, that makes sense. If
It's
you
so
stop
crazy because
watering,
yes,
everything
yes,
stops.
and it's one of those things where these gems cannot be it can't be received in human form.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm. Oh, I
It's
do.
like if you're not connected,
Mhm.
there's no other way you can get the gems and the
Mhm.
awakenings that you get from it.
Yeah. And
It is.
so, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mhm. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when you mentioned that, one other thing that was shared with me in the same moment is the importance of staying connected, staying in tune
Mm.
with, right? You have
Hmm.
to water your spirit too. You have to get in a
Yes.
place where you are to yourself. Every distraction,
Yes.
move to the side and minimize
Hmm.
so that you can hear what thoughts that the Lord is going to give to you about the path that you should be taking. And people don't do that enough. The first time people get up, they want to do social media. They want to check their text messages, right? So you are
Hmm.
already starting your day off worldly, disconnected,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you're stagnant and not moving and progressing, think
Yes.
about what you're doing. What
Yes.
is your day
Yes.
to day look like? Hey,
What
brother,
is your day
Tony,
today?
what does your
Pretty,
day to day
pretty.
look like?
Is that Tony? That's it. That's
Yep.
that pretty boy. Says speak
Say
on it.
what,
Lord
Tony?
knows I need to hear this. Yes. This is.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait to go back and watch this because this is so good. I don't even want to go to the other questions.
You know how we do, but I'm
I
appreciative. That's
know.
why I
I know.
know
And
that there's purpose.
so one of the things that you spoke. Listen, I don't even know if I want to talk about you. These questions are good, but it's just Nick, you do this to me all the time. It's already past 10:30. Real quick though, before I get to the next one. Um, so basically, it's people really recognizing, being connected to the divine
Mm-hmm.
and sowing a seed. They don't get to bear the fruits because they
Mm-hmm.
don't put in the labor.
Mm-hmm.
They just pretty much sow the seed,
Right.
right?
Right.
Uh, and it actually does trickle into my next question, which is basically purpose,
Okay.
right? So when we get these visions or we get these oh, epiphanies or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, and it's something that's for our future, and it's
Mm-hmm.
something that we want to do to make us greater, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's tie in. Give me your views on sowing your seed and purpose,
Okay.
finding your purpose.
Right. And that's another excellent, thing for me to talk about. And I'll start with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be like, unsure of what the purpose was. And
Mm-hmm.
until recently, what I had to think, well, what comes naturally? What comes
Yes.
naturally to me? Right?
Right.
And see, what happens is when you are not allowing yourself to get connected, you hear the
Mm.
wrong things and you
Mm.
deviate. You deviate. So it's
Yeah.
important to ground yourself. That's very, very important.
Yes.
And know what comes natural. You know what comes natural to you. You know what that
Right.
is. Like for me, I'm a natural speaker. I'm a
Right.
natural
Right.
motivator. I'm a natural
Right.
leader. Some things I don't have to think about doing. It just comes natural. So that
Just
helps
comes
you to
naturally.
understand your purpose. But you can keep that boxed in, meaning
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do this at American Express. Or no,
Mm.
more people deserve what God is sharing with me.
Mm.
And you understand? So you know your
Yes.
purpose by what comes naturally to you. And it sometimes it's not what you're doing
Right.
already. You understand?
Right. Right. Because a lot of time people are doing things that they hate.
A lot of
People
times people are
are.
doing things that they hate or somewhat connected to what they should be doing, right? Because me
Yes.
being a people leader for American Express put me in the opportunity to demonstrate my passion
Yes.
to lead and to help and
The
to motivate
lead.
and to inspire. But it took me and to come to some groundness to say this deserves to be done on a bigger scale.
Right.
There's more
Mm.
people than my immediate circle that needs help, that needs to hear this, that needs to be
That needs to
reached.
hear.
And
Right.
that's why I
Right.
appreciate opportunities like this. I thank you for having me, so that we can
Yeah.
start doing the work. And a lot of times we get distracted by numbers, right? A lot of
Yeah.
times we'll start doing something and we don't see the result that we want to. That's like going to the gym on Monday for the first time and expecting
Yeah.
to see a six pack on Tuesday the very next day. You're not going to see it, sweetie.
You ain't gonna see it.
Meaning, and I'm saying,
Gotta
sweetie,
keep
to
putting
the
in that
people
work.
in the back that, you know what I'm saying? It's the law of how
Yes.
things work. Everything works the same, but we don't like to look at it when it comes to immediately, what can I do to drive
Right.
my own revenue, to drive my own success, my own business? It's the same concept. You
Ooh,
got to put in the work.
the work, the work.
Put in
You
that
know,
work.
an analogy
Do
just
them
came in
sit
my
ups.
brain. Analogy just came in my brain because I was thinking of a garden, right? Before I get to the next question, we want instant gratification. Yes, I know.
Correct.
It's terrible. Humans,
Correct.
man. But I was
He's
thinking of
another
an
great
analogy.
person to look at too. We're gonna talk about that later. He's another great person to look at. He's an entrepreneur
Okay.
as well. So shout out to Tony and thank you for
Okay,
joining.
yeah. Send them over. Send them over. But real quick, I was thinking of an analogy of like you see somebody building a house or even just
Mm-hmm.
a garden. This is a garden,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you go to someone's backyard and it's just soil, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no seats, there's nothing. It's just soil, and it's just like soil. Or you'll see the person out there working on the garden. And you're just like, oh, they got a lot of weeds to take up. They got all this stuff to do. Then they
Mm-hmm.
come back 3 months later, and it's this beautiful garden.
Keep.
It's this beautiful garden, and the chairs are out there. The wind is nice. The sun is blooming, and it's like, oh yes, can I take pictures in your garden? Can I sit in your garden? Can I? And it's pretty much what happens,
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
that, and that goes back to sowing your seed and
Correct. And
reaping the
watering.
harvest. Yeah,
You
because
gotta
now
water
everybody
it.
wants to be there. Yeah, and be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Chad.
Hey Keith.
But
Hey
yeah,
brother. Another great person that I've connected with throughout
yeah.
my journey. There's so many people that has helped me, and sometimes we get into the thought of doing it alone. No, we all need one another to do
Oh
something.
yes,
So I appreciate. So
yes,
shout out
Nick.
to all the people who have helped me along this journey.
You don't even know. I'm. It's so much for us in the future. We're gonna work together, Nick.
Yes, yes,
I know it.
I'm already receiving it.
I already know, and it's gonna be phenomenal. Like I have so much plans.
Authentic, genuine, real.
Yes.
Just yeah, and I'm here for it. And I used to be very
Oh,
shy. What people don't know, I used to be extremely shy, a huge
yeah.
introvert, and extremely private. Like my Instagram was
Yeah.
private, and when I started doing the music, I was told, no, you gotta open that up.
You gotta
So
open it up.
right, so that's another thing that blocks your chakras. You have to be open. You know, for example, there are reasons why I have been extremely private, and a lot of that is attached to hurt and bad experiences, right? And if
Mm.
that is what's keeping you from being the phenomenal person I need you to be, is what God says, you can't
Mm-hmm.
receive and you can't
You
help.
can't receive.
So some
Yeah.
things you gotta let go.
Yeah.
You gotta
And I
embrace some things. You
yes.
gotta get
And I've seen it.
uncomfortable.
I've uncomfortable is so true. I have seen, even with myself, where I'm one of those people like a lot of the things I'm not. I could be so private but so open, right?
Hmm.
Because you
Mm.
realize that everybody shit stink.
Right. Correct.
you know,
Correct. And that's
and
one of the
motherfuckers
biggest
love acting
problems.
like it don't. You know what I
That's the
mean?
problem.
And exactly, and everybody that knows me and knows who I'm around when I get around, I am not afraid to open up and
Hmm.
talk about experiences, even if it
Yeah.
was embarrassing or whatever it
Right.
was, because then they wonder like, damn, she went through all of that, but then she's just so outgoing. She don't care to tell it because at the end of the day,
Right.
it can literally be a testimony
Yeah.
for someone else.
Exactly. I remember to your point, in my previous relationship, and there,
Mm-hmm.
he was this person that, what he celebrated us differently than I did because I
Mm.
knew that, you have, especially on social media, you have people who watch you to succeed and you have people who watch you to fail. And so I always
Right.
share, I don't want to put on something that is not authentic. Oh,
That is not authentic.
we are human. There are
Mm-hmm.
problems that happens, because people are ready
Mm-hmm.
to judge you before they're ready to
Yes.
support you.
Yes. a
And
hundred percent.
you gotta, and so I believe in full
Yes.
transparency too, to your point. I believe in being open when it comes to things that could either mislead or misguide people. And if it's
Right.
gonna make people think a way that is not true, oh, I'll step in and I'll be as honest as I need to be.
As you need to be. Yep. Yep. That's 100% true. So, real quick, because we cutting up on time. We be getting to the other stuff yet. Um. Ooh, I'm gonna try to I'm gonna just. I got like four more questions before I get into the next segment, but I'm gonna chop it into two the best way I can. Um. Okay, so all right, let me put it like let's go here. How did you get into your hosting? How did that start?
So my friend, I was at work, corporate environment, and a friend of
Mm-hmm.
mine hosted events. He actually came to the job to cater one of the events, and he got to witness me in my element of leadership and my element
Mm-hmm.
of speaking. And he came to me and said, "I'm opening a club and I want you to host it." I had never hosted, but I was the type of friend that if I didn't know how to do it, I was going to learn how. I never done it before. I just said yes because
Mm-hmm.
I used to be that friend. And yeah, it was at the vault. That's how I met Keith. And so
Oh,
yeah, that was how I got my start. And
yeah,
and mind you, I was the type of person people will come to me and say all kind of things. Oh, I want you to do, I want you to do, and I never believed them. It went in one
yeah,
ear, not the other. So he came
yeah,
back and was like, okay, I got the liquor license, I got this, and the first night is this night, you're on.
yeah,
And so I started and just blew from there.
yeah. What
The
did you learn
natural gift.
about yourself with hosting? What is something that a few things you learned about yourself when you started?
I learned that, well, I always knew that I was a personality. I have a
Mm-hmm.
seriousness to me, but honey, I am hilarious, like extremely hilarious. But I know how to balance it. So I embraced and learned that it's okay to be vulnerable and to be yourself. Because I used to be very shy and reserved with expressing me fully and completely. And that,
Mm.
unless it was in a certain setting,
Mm-hmm.
and especially like a nightclub environment, those are the people that I wanted to protect myself from the most. Um, but yeah, I just opened up and became this person that I said, this is around entertainment like. Because what happened was there was a guy who saw me and he said,
Mm-hmm.
when you realize and recognize your gift, I want you to give me a call. Well, I played pretend because I was curious. Well, what does that mean? Play pretend a month.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize my gift, child. What am I doing?
Look, even if you didn't recognize it, woo,
Because I was curious. I wanted to explore what that meant.
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so he wanted to manage me and have me do stand up comedy. And it started
Mm.
that way. So I got bookings doing stand up comedy. I was getting a nice coin while
Stand
also working.
up.
Yes. Yep. I traveled and it just got weird when he wanted to start doing something different. You know how they say in the entertainment industry, these people eventually want to sleep with you. I was not that type of person. And I was like, no, ma'am, all the brakes are going
Mm.
on because no. And I have to thank God for
Mm.
that too, because that's not always a natural way of thinking for some people. Some people are like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I thank God that that is
Right.
not who I am and not who I am. So I had to stop that. And yeah, so that stopped.
Wow. Oh, isn't that real quick? Let's talk about how opportunities come to you, and in some cases, you feel like it turns out to kind of be an opportunity that was from the devil. You know what I
Been
mean?
there.
Yeah, and a lot of time that discourages people. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a friend specifically that she wanted to do a photography shoot for her. I think she had OnlyFans at the time,
Okay.
and she was afraid to just book the photographer because she was
Mm,
afraid that they would try to,
mm,
come at her in a way or whatever. And I'm just like, you cannot have that mindset.
mm,
Um, you still have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. Yes, that's the negative, but look at what can happen, the good things that can come from it. So with you going through that, and then I know after that you met other people and got introduced to other opportunities.
Yeah.
How did you use that circumstance that happened to you?
Got it.
How did you use that and say, you know what, I'm not going to let this stop me. Like, I'm not going to be afraid of people after this. You know what I
So
mean?
for me, I'm interesting, and I had learned to defend myself, and in any way. And so when that happened, I was not even worried. I was not stressed. I said no. No is no, and that's what it's going to be. Period. And there's nothing else to discuss or talk about. And so for me, I was already, standing 10 toes about how I felt, and I didn't care
On that.
how you felt, because when I looked at it, again, I was the type of person, I didn't believe anything that people would present to me anyway. So I was just going along with the flow anyway. So I'm not losing anything. And then me, having the foundation, this is very important for people to have the foundation of church, of going to church and hearing the word, because it helped me to connect with what he has for me, it is for me. And I'm a firm, you know what I'm saying? So I'm a firm believer in that what you did ain't stop no show, right? And so we have to be at that point. And I want to say something for your friend who had this experience. Let's get into chakras, something that churches, they don't teach us about chakras, but they are real.
Yes.
And there are things that, there's a negative and positive to everything. So the negative part of the experience says, stop what you're doing. Be nervous, be afraid. But pull from that positive side to heal from that, because not everybody is going to be like that, because the intent of the negative side is to stop you from accomplishing what you're passionate about. You have to always know that for every good effort you make, there is going to be, it's called the law of polarity. There's negative and there is positive. And those negative forces are going to be trying to beat down and win. But you have to say, I need to heal from this, because this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I want to do. I need to heal from that experience. Self-talk,
So
self-help, and self-realization.
Yes. Oh man, it just goes back to just connecting with your divine self, your higher self, because
Very
that's
important.
that voice that you connect with is going to literally overpower the negative voice. It's
Correct.
so strong, because when you look at it, the negative voice doesn't need no assistance.
Right. It's so easy.
Yeah, it don't need no assistance. It just pops up. It's easier for us to do the bad things than the negative things, right? But when you have that connection with the divine, connecting to it is all you have to do.
Yeah.
Because once you connect to it, that battle is on.
Yeah.
And you have to do nothing else.
Yeah.
It's going to overpower that negative.
And it does. And you have to, every day you have to connect, you have to ground yourself. Meditating is extremely important, because you don't know who you are until you know who you are. And you have to think about what's the process of getting to know yourself. You have to spend time with yourself in order to do that. And a lot of people don't do that. Again, social media takes over. Everything else takes over and distracts you from getting to know yourself. And a lot of people don't live in their purpose because they don't even know who they are.
That is so... God.
This is a book that I read regularly. It's called Self-Realization. You can't see it because of how it's being shown, but it's called Self-Realization. I was traveling to Atlanta, and I was at the airport, and I normally ignore everybody that talked to me that's trying to solicit or sell anything. But this one day, this guy brought these books to me, and I was in the mood to say, okay, I'll accept the book. And then I started to read it. This is all during the pandemic too. And I started to read it, and it helped me to really, really, truly tap into who I am and what my purpose is. Because it's self-realization, y'all. The science of self-realization.
I gotta go get that. Does that? It looks like it's a book that talks about the chakras.
Oh, it does. It does. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I probably said that all wrong, but yeah. Google it.
Okay.
self-realization, a very, very, very good read to help you get into with yourself. All right,
All
I know I gotta move on.
right. I gotta get that. I gotta get that. Ooh, child. Today I had a rough day too, and I had to really tap into my. You know what, too,
Mhm.
Nick? I ain't about to play with you, yo. Real quick. I'm. This is the last question I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave these. I'm gonna just leave these questions. We're gonna talk about this in private chat. No other
Okay.
questions because this is so good. I just want to keep this momentum going.
Okay.
So, what do you think the power of like? How do you look at the power of tears? You know, because a lot of people they don't like to cry, and with me, I realized once I started meditating and getting into the divine, I cry so much, right?
This is a good one.
And it's not, huh?
This is a good one for me.
Yep. So, and it's not tears of sadness. What I've
Mhm.
come to realize is that it's tears of release,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I would get into meditation and and tap into something that's going on in my life and
Mhm.
then just whoosh, like
Yeah.
boohoo,
Mhm.
snot, tears,
Yeah.
and I would like now I hug myself, like I
Yeah.
hug myself tight, tight,
Mhm.
tight, tight, tight. Because you know what they say when you cry, people want to give you a hug,
Yeah.
and naturally, even this morning, I found myself hugging myself so tight and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. No,
boo
I get
crying
it.
out these tears, and I felt so good after.
Mm.
And I said to myself, whatever this is, it needs to be released.
Yeah.
So what is your views on that? Do you get to that point where you're just crying, and if you do, what do you think of that? Like
Mm.
how do you say, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why it's
Yeah.
happening.
It started with me thinking that I had to always be strong because I was grew up in an environment and raised in an environment where I felt I had to be. And so
Mm-hmm.
tears, what's that? Cry, what's that?
Mm.
You know, you get a whooping, you better not shut up. But you just spanked me. So
No,
but
yes,
you know,
yes,
but
yes.
but what parents sometimes don't understand is that first of all, as children, that's the most impressionable time for a human being. And that's where your
Yeah.
behaviors are established and where your behaviors are learned. And
Mm-hmm.
so I grew up, you know, honey, I didn't cry. Cry what? You know, I had exes thinking I
Mm.
was cold and vicious and evil because I wouldn't
Mm.
cry. I could stare you in your face, honey, and say something so calmly in the midst of something
Yeah.
that I should be crying about and not
Yeah,
crying.
yeah.
So when the therapy happened, you know, during the American Express era, that the last couple of years there, and I went through those unexpected experiences, you know, and the
Mm-hmm.
therapist was like, let it out. Because he could
Mm-hmm.
feel that I had held on because I felt I needed to be resilient. I felt that I needed to
Mm.
live by the motto, everything is just fine. Oh, everything is great. I'm phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had to live by that. And that man said, you know, hey, I let it out. And child,
Mm.
to your point, the tears just pour and the release. And so what I think about it is that what was the experience after I cried? Was it a bad one? Was it a good one? It was a good one. It allowed me to release.
Mm.
It allowed healing to start to take
Yes.
place.
Place.
And so I would say to all people, don't be afraid when it's necessary, when you feel it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because people hold on. They hold on, they hold on, especially men. They feel the need to be strong. They feel the need to show that I am alpha male.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
But I will say this as well. Women makes men feel like they can't be that. Not all women, but some women. And when I say women, it starts at home. Your
Yeah.
mother will tell you you
Yeah,
need to
your
be strong
mother.
and you know all these things they put in your head. No, you're not supposed to cry.
Yeah.
You better toughen
Right.
up, or they'll
Right.
say stuff like
You
you
better
better
tough.
toughen up. So
Yes.
that makes you
Yes.
feel okay. I'm supposed to be tough. Okay, right?
Yeah.
But you
Mm.
know, and it's no fault to them. There's no handbook to say here's how to parent here.
Right. Right.
Everything does start back at childhood. Everything literally does. And you know what I want parents to know, you know, don't blame yourself. There's no rule books on how to be a kid when you're a child. There's no rule book on how to be a teenager. There's no rule book how to be a
Mm.
parent. Everyone is really doing the best that they can. But that
That
is
they
why
can.
it is important, again, to self-realize, to come to a point
Mm.
where you realize who you are and you are grounding yourself. And if I could give a message to any person today that leads anyone, to know who you are first.
Yeah, definitely know who you are.
And that
So
way we can cry with no problem.
yes. So before we get into the next segment, which is our this or that segment, this or that is our basically my segment after my questions segment, and
Okay.
it's just a way to just decompress our brain because I know we go so
Mm-hmm.
deep into just think into this conversation. But real quick, so you do music
Yes.
and you write your own music.
Yes.
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 So
Proudly.
what is it that what is it with your music that you okay, well first let's talk about the type of music you put out.
Okay.
What was the type of music that you first started with to now? Is there a difference?
So when I was 8, I wrote my first song at 8, and it was an R&B
Mm.
song, and it was called
Mm.
Yeah, Have You Ever? And then what happened when I released, I always had this passion for music. And I just released my first song in 2021, and it's called Can't Take Me. How
That's
that
my
song
shit.
came,
These hoes can't
Can't
take
Take
me.
Me, hey. So how that came about, when you are a leader and you are a vessel and you're being used, there's wisdom that the universe and God gives you. He has to equip you with the tools to do the work. And see, not everybody is equipped. And many times those people who God have chosen and have placed in those environments have all these unique skills and these
Mm-hmm.
unique gifts. And then you have your other people, they're intimidated by it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand it.
Mm.
And so I was saying, they hate me. A mentor of
Mm.
mine said, nope, I've been around you and those same people. They just can't take you.
They
I
take
said,
it.
oh. So I wrote the song, Can't Take Me.
Ooh.
Where I want to
Ooh.
go with music,
Mm.
I want to, when you think about Beyonce's first album, it did not
Mm.
have one particular sound. It had a
Mm.
sound, it had different sounds. And that's how
Mm.
I envision my work because I love R&B. I love writing R&B music. I love writing love songs. I love writing Mary J. Blige type of songs. I love
Yeah.
writing sassy, you can't take me songs. I like
Yeah.
writing hardcore songs. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much in here. It's so much. And I just want to share that with the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I listen. I know we about to see some popping stuff,
And
coming
right, I
out, and
just finished my
especially.
next song. That's gonna be
Ooh.
the first song of my new EP that is gonna be
Mm.
coming out. Well, the song is gonna come out for the summer. It's gonna be a summer banger. But
Yeah.
my EP, I'm looking to come out in September. Like, so you're gonna, yeah.
Okay. I can't wait. Listen, I'm gonna be promoting it. I was trying to find
Thank
it
you.
on because it streams on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I could not find it for nothing in this world. I wanted to post it with the flyer, and I'm like, man,
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't
funny.
find it. I wouldn't put, but I'm gonna make sure to look at it again. Maybe you could try to send it to me, and so I can repost
I
it
can,
after
and thank
this.
you. Yeah, listen.
Yeah,
This
for
was enough.
sure.
This was enough to, have a conversation that not only benefits just a small circle, but a broader circle. Because
Right.
obviously, I'm being a different community, but you know what? I'm not going to say that. Disregard that because I mesh and obviously mingle in all communities.
Yes, because you just that dope. Shit.
Thank you, and thank
I
God.
love you, Nick, man. So let's go into this or that segment because we are an hour in, child. I knew this
Okay.
was gonna happen. I didn't even get to the last three of my questions, but we talk about, how we will talk about it in person, honey. And best believe I'm gonna have you back on, in the future when Wine Glass, opens up some more. Because I got I have a goal that I'm trying to reach where I can bring everybody together
All right.
and have like my top guests, and you could be
Oh,
one. You
wow.
are in the top 500
Very nice.
to
Thank you.
speak. Yeah, to speak to the people. live in person on a mic, on a panel, you know. So
Thank you.
we're gonna talk about it. Yes, that's in the it's bubbling,
Coming.
it's
It's
cooking
being
up.
manifested.
Yes, we manifested it. Yes, yes, yes. So let's get into this or that real quick. All right. So this is basically where I just give you two different options and you pick one. Right.
Okay.
We're gonna do 10 of them. Ready?
Yes.
All right. So this or that, alone or with friends.
Ooh, I like being alone for most. I like alone time
Yeah.
more than I like being with my friends. Because I
Okay.
like connecting with self. And when you read about Aquarius, I'm an Aquarius, it speaks to that. We appreciate
Oh,
some alone time. I like being around people and I'm sociable, but it's very important for me to connect with myself
with
so that I
yourself.
can give the authentic version of me.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Older or younger in general?
Old.
Older. Ooh, great minds think alike. Why you say
But
older?
that's not how it always happens, though.
That's
That's not how it always happens. But that is the ideal. Yeah. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'll say this. It was the ideal because society tells you that if you are of a certain maturity, that you should be a certain type of establishment. But you
Yeah.
realize when you live long enough that, no, that's not necessarily true.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
true. That's true. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise, the start of the day.
Sunrise. Yes, me too. Respect or loyalty?
I would say respect.
Ooh!
Aretha me, please. Okay, wait. Respect. Very important. I don't play about that.
Listen, and I think the majority of people that I've been interviewing been saying loyalty, and to each their own. You know, everybody gonna have
Yeah,
their
to
own.
each their own.
But for me, tell me why you chose respect.
I believe that if you, I don't need your loyalty. I need your respect because respect to me will trump the loyalty because it has some of the same similar expectations, right?
Yes,
Where
yes,
you know you try that with Pikachu, but don't try that with me. You understand? Or you respect me for being, you know what? This is a person that I see of integrity, of ethics. Let me respect that. You know what I'm saying? Because
let me.
I feel like my brand is important.
Yes. Mm. I said this. I said the same thing, man. And the reason why, because people not even loyal to themselves.
They're not loyal to themselves. So I can't expect you to be loyal to me, but respect me. Thank you.
But respect me. Just do that, and we gonna be good
And we gonna
forever.
be very good all the
Because guess
time.
what? If we on a boat and it's sinking, I don't expect you to be loyal and come save me. I know you gonna save yourself before you save me.
Yeah, and when you think about it, loyalty can be so unreasonable sometimes. Sometimes it's unreasonable. Like a friend could expect another friend to be
Mm-hmm.
loyal, and everybody friends, and all been friends the same amount of time. So the loyalty could, like, well, shoot, I don't know what to do. So you're in the middle, but respect me because you'll move differently, you'll
Yes.
operate differently, you'll think differently, and you'll
Yes.
think differently in those environments where your loyalty is challenged. Okay, come on,
Yes.
somebody.
Yes. Somebody was calling you. You breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it's
No, it probably the
wow.
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Is it better?
All right. Next, clubbing or brunching?
Now brunching, even though I host at nightclubs, but I like a little brunch.
Right. And then that's your job.
Yeah,
So
right.
you prefer to have the brunch. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Friends or family?
Hmm. Friends.
Friends.
You want to know why? Because my
Yes.
family is that's a separate title. But you should be my friend. Just because you're my family doesn't mean you're my friend. So why am I putting you a priority over someone who's a friend and their attributes and characteristics of a friend? So yeah, my friends and family. Guess what? You can be my friend too, but you
Ooh, I
must
love
possess
that.
those characteristics. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I ain't never break it down like that. I was moving with family. I ain't go. But I like that philosophy. I like that. Remember I told you I wanted us to talk about the philosophy, but we'll talk about that another day. Can't get into that right now. Okay, so married or single?
Well, I'm the type of person I like stability, and I like
Mm.
the idea of one person, that yeah. So,
Okay,
and
so
I
you
feel
go
like
more for
there's
married.
hmm,
You go more towards married or like in a relationship.
yeah, even if it's not
Yeah.
marriage, but I like, I like the monogamy of things, and yeah, because in this generation now, you have people they sleep with 29 different people every 2 days, right? And I don't have time for that. I value my body more than
Hmm.
that. I really do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
And there's no
100%.
shade now. It ain't shade nobody who, they getting their
Right. It's
thing
like,
on
dude,
and love that.
live your best
I
life.
just I don't want to. And me being, I feel like a public figure. I had a thing. I never want to be the person in the room where everybody's saying, "Oh, I had him, I had him, I had him, I had him." Where's the exclusivity? Where is your value in an environment where everybody can say, "Oh, I had him, I had him, I had him"? No, you will not
Yes.
be able to say that about me. I refuse to have that.
Yes. Yes. I
No,
love
ma'am.
that. Oh, I love that. I love that. City or beach?
City. I'm not really a beach
City.
person. Yeah. The
Okay.
beach is only nice at night though, but yeah, I'm not really a beach
Yeah. Oh,
person.
you a nighttime beach goer?
Because I get to
Oh,
relax. It's a certain type of thought process that comes when you're at the beach at night.
yeah. I feel like you hear the ocean more
Yes, it's a
at
certain
night.
stillness that I love. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You making me want to go out there and meditate at night now, because I love meditation, and and the sounds of the water is really
Yeah.
soothing. Ooh, you
Yeah.
just gave me a
That
little
part.
getaway gem. All right, shots or mixed drink?
Mixed drinks.
Mixed drink,
The
okay.
shots take me out right away. It's
Yeah.
yeah. So if I'm out and I want to enjoy the night, just give me a mixed drink, please.
And you good
Let's
to
show them in my
go. I
hand.
feel you. All right, last one. In the now or for the future?
In the now. In the now,
Mm,
because people miss opportunities by procrastinating and not living in the now.
not living in the now. I like that. I love that. I love
Hmm.
that. All right, so let's get into our next segment. It's the blast from the past.
I think my Wi-Fi might be doing a number. Is it dancing?
Let's see. Let's see. How was this? Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can get you. Wi-Fi issues, people. We're gonna try to see if he can get back connected real quick, or I might have to log him out and save the first one. Let's see. Let me see if I can get him in. Hold on, guys. Wi-Fi's acting up. Okay. He said he's back. Let me see if I can get him back in real quick. Let me. Yes. Here we go. Hold on. Okay. There we go. We back
We
in.
good?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right. So let's get into the blast from the past. This is where I basically do a deep dive into your Instagram,
Okay.
and I find photos slash content where you have to give me some more insight
Okay.
on. Okay. And I tricked you because I know you're gonna be looking at your Instagram like, where's she go? Which one of these pictures she gonna take? I know one of these pictures is good. All these pictures is good enough, but I went deeper. I went deeper. I was trying to
All
find your
right.
Facebook, but I could not find your Facebook, and I didn't want to tell you that I was looking for your Facebook, but I couldn't find. Do you have a Facebook?
I do, and you won't get nowhere on there. It's probably just as. Remember, I used to be extremely private.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, it's cool though. I found me something still. All right, so you ready?
Yes.
All right.
Oh my gosh. So that night was at a ball in Orlando. These are my house ballroom kids. So what that means, we're in the same house, and I'm the leader of that house. And these are some people who are part of it with me. They're
Yeah.
all new to ballroom. I've been doing ballroom for like over 10 years, and they're new, maybe like 1 to 2 years. So those are my
Yeah.
babies. And that was a very fun
Um,
night. They look good. The one in the black, that's Lamaj. He has a fashion. He does fashion design.
oh,
His name is Jamal, but he goes by Lamaj. And he
yeah.
designed those outfits that the ladies have on and him.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love that red suit.
Yes, I'm proud of
Mm.
my babies. Thank you.
All right. So did you choreograph anything with them, or was it more so you kind of just set up the show, help set up the show? Was that mostly what it was that you were doing?
With them in particular.
Hmm.
So for
Were you
them,
performing?
oh no, no, no. I was part of the committee that put together the ballroom weekend. It was like a ballroom event Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was part of the planning
Oh,
team. Yeah,
okay, okay.
I
All
did
right, honey.
MC and I did host Sunday. Yeah, I did MC one of the nights and Friday. Yeah, I was actually booked and busy, yeah, the whole weekend. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So talk to me about this one.
Yeah, so that picture was like I'm throwing shade, but not shade, but a whole lot of shade. If you can catch the shade.
It was a gold suit for me, honey.
Pay close attention. Yes, honey. But so for me, that was I was traveling for a ball. It was me and the guy who in the black in the last picture. We traveled together. That was his first ball, actually. So I was taking him to
Oh.
get his first out of town ballroom experience.
Oh, listen, that gold suit was given. Did you perform? Did you do your
Not
music?
that did I? No, not that weekend. Because and it's so funny.
Oh,
Like you said, many hats in the beginning. I do hold. Sometimes I'm performing. Sometimes I'm hosting, or sometimes I'm leading a
mm,
conference. So yeah, different things.
yeah. Okay. All right, last one.
Oh, so that was another event. My babies in the
Mm.
house, Viscata. That was like our first debut as a unified house, and there was so much planning that went into that night of how we presented ourselves, and I'm glad to say that it went well. The people got the message.
Mm. All right. Renard said, "Who ball was it?"
That was it was pop ball weekend, so there were two balls that weekend. It was Cash had one, and then Vixen. So Cash, Gorgeous Gucci, and then Vixen West.
Okay. All right. So that is it for our Blast for the Fast segment. I want to get into our next segment, which is explain that quote, which I
Okay.
couldn't wait to get to with you because I know it's gonna be some good shit. So I put three really good quotes that stands out to me. Um, for some reason, this time around, I only know one of the persons that I quoted, but the
hmm
quotes are so good, I was just like, let me just use them anyways.
hmm
So the first quote is, "Success is a journey, not a destination."
Success is a journey because it's always changing, right?
Mm.
Sometimes, for example, when I started with the company, when I worked for American Express, I thought I was going to be there forever. I thought
Mm.
that, I was going to hold certain roles there. It was not a
Yeah,
destination, it was a journey.
it was a journey. Oh, that's beautiful. Dang. It just brought me back to when I was working at my other salon before I got to my suite that I literally
hmm
thought I was going to be there forever. I was like, I'm going to partner with these people. This
Yes,
is it. I'm
big
going to be an
plan.
all-the partner. And it was really just a part of my journey.
Yep.
Oh, I love that. All right. This person was author Robert Ashe James. I don't know who he is, but you look him up. Um, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude.
Yeah. So, when I think about if you don't like something, change it. For example, if you say you have a certain feeling about yourself, there's certain insecurity. Do you want to keep that insecurity? Do you want to allow that
Mm,
insecurity to dictate how you move about in the world, how you want
mm.
people to perceive you, or do you want to change that?
Or do you want to change
So I
that?
don't care what it looks like.
Hmm.
What do you feel about yourself?
self. Ooh, yes, yes. All
So you
right.
change how you feel on the inside, and it'll show on the
Yeah,
outside.
yes. All right. And that one was by Maya Angelou. I love her.
Yeah.
She's the only one that
My
I knew on
screen
this
is getting
whole
dark.
your screen. You got your charger?
Oh, no, no, no. I got to get this light. Yeah, this lighting is doing a kiki, making me look dark and black and all that. But keep going.
Oh, but you look good. You still look bright
Thank
and nice
you.
here.
Okay, good. Okay.
Um. Okay, last one. Either you deal with what is the reality, or you can be sure that the reality is going to deal with you.
Correct, because denial is a real word in the dictionary. No, I'm being funny. But no, denial is a word in the dictionary. And we have a choice. We could say that this situation is hurting me, it's not helping me, or we can realize, no, this situation is hurting me. See, this goes back to understanding who you are and self-realizing. That's why meditating and grounding yourself is important. So you can know
Mm.
if, is this hurting me or is this helping me?
Or is it helping me?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do I need to come into do a reality check?
Check.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Nice. That was by author Alex Haley. Don't know who he is, but you guys could check him out
I
if
know
anything.
today.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna hop into the last segment, and which is the host hot seat. And with
Okay.
this segment is basically where I allow my guests to pretty much ask me anything they want to ask,
Okay.
and any one thing they want to ask. You got to keep moving, and I have no choice but to answer.
Well, I don't have anything too invasive or intrusive. I feel like let's stick to, the what we're doing, which is helping people heal. How do you feel after tonight?
I feel so good. I promise you, this might be a little bit selfish of me, but I was like, do I want to give people these gems with Nick? Like,
I understand.
I was just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
but that's the beauty of pretty much our us being a vessel,
yeah.
you know, and
Listen, you don't feel bad about that. And I have to say this. Sometimes we feel bad about having the human natural thought that we have because we all
yeah,
have thoughts. But it's
yes,
what we do with those thoughts. Do we allow those thoughts
right,
to produce or manifest?
right,
So you have to give yourself a kudos because guess what? We're on this live together and
right,
these gems are being shared. So it
and
speaks
these
to your
gems are being,
character and it speaks to
yes,
your who you are. Yes, we all get the other voice. And
yeah,
I would be rude or anybody else would be rude to look at you like you don't get the voice.
right,
We all
right.
get it. You
We all
understand?
get it,
But
yeah,
what did you do
and
with that voice?
yeah, exactly, exactly, and like I was saying earlier, just we literally got through the first hour, and I wasn't even done with my questions. And while we were going through that part, I just had the vision. I just seen you. I seen either me or my host introducing you. It's so deep because I don't want to, you're not going to be a host when we work together. Maybe in the beginning, but what I seen you was more so as a superstar guest for me. Someone that the people really needs to hear. Like my audience is going to buy the tickets just to see you because of how you are as a person and how you can uplift and motivate people and dissect life, in a way
Thank you.
that people can understand.
Thank you.
And a lot of people, yeah, the preacher's kid said we received that. A lot of people, you don't meet a lot of people like that. And
Yeah.
you are one of the people that I have to hold on to. I have to, man. The day Tanisha sent you to me, God knew why.
What he was
Because we
doing.
connected like this, like
Immediately. We did. Immediately.
quick, quick,
And that's
quick, and I'm just thankful for you. I am
likewise.
super duper thankful for you. And it's a point where it's like, if I drink too much and the motherfucker try you, we out in the streets, I'm like,
Listen, and that's just how it goes up. But I'm glad to have met you too. And I have a lot of reluctancy toward meeting people. Preach Kid can tell you. I'm slow to let people in, very, very slow. But I
Yeah.
realize I'm so glad to have the experiences that I have had, good and indifferent, because it's brought me to a place of, again, self-realization. I know who I
Yeah.
am, and I know that this ain't about me. This is not about
Yes.
me. God got
Right.
me. This is about all the people in the world who don't know what they're going to do next, who
Right.
are struggling to identify with who they are and what their purpose is.
And what their
And so
purpose?
I'm just the
Yes.
vessel. And this is something
Yeah.
that's very important that I have to say in my meditating yesterday that was shared with me by way of the Spirit. A lot of times, when you think about the people that are close to God, the people that connect with Him,
Mm-hmm.
who are those people? What usually draws somebody to God? A person that has gone through something.
Mm-hmm.
Because people go to church all day long, honey, and they're practicing the
Mm-hmm.
religion of being in the pews in the church.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but what for those people who are connecting with Him? What's bringing them? And so that
What's
takes you
bringing them?
back to the scripture when the
Mm-hmm.
Bible says, "Those who are heavy laden, who are broken in
Mm.
spirit, come to
Mm.
me." When he shared that with me yesterday, I got emotional because I said, wow. So when
Mm.
those are the people that are connecting, the people who have been
Mm.
casted out, abused, talked
Mm.
about,
Mm.
it's those people. And so I come with
Yes.
a full testimony. I come with
Yes.
force. I come with purpose. And I'm celebrating this. That's why I say I'm thankful for every experience that I've gone through, good or indifferent, because it brought me closer to understanding, to have God consciousness,
To have it.
to be
Yes.
God aware,
Yes.
and it
My,
allowed me to center myself.
my brother said, I've been in and out on this session, but every time I come in, it's deep. Yet, I'm telling y'all, I was supposed to do a video. I was so busy that I was supposed to do a video prior to us starting to tell people, like, you all have to get onto this live because it's gonna be some deep shit. I just nearly got emotional and started freaking crying. Nick didn't see me
Yeah.
cry before, child.
Yeah.
Nick was like, I'm about to start crying on this shit.
But this is important. But guess what? I love to that lets me know that what is being done through me
Yes,
is it's serving a purpose. It's being done
it's
through
serving
me,
a
and I
purpose.
welcome it. God, do it all. Have
Yes,
your way.
yes,
I don't like. I love being a vessel, and I love the wisdom.
yes,
I don't know how to explain it. Like when I just be
yes.
sitting minding my black business, and the Holy Spirit starts and the Holy Spirit starts speaking to me again. Like I mentioned earlier, I got in the habit of writing it down because God is letting me
Yeah,
know this needs to be shared. Somebody needs to hear
shared.
this. So yeah, so I'm glad
Yes, yes,
to know that that we connected and that other people
yes.
are connecting.
Right, right. She said, preacher's kid. He
You
said,
cannot be doing that, little black person.
eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Yes, yes. It's so much. It's coming. That's gonna be that's out there for us, and we're just gonna be receiving it. We're just gonna be in the spirit
Yes.
of receiving and just doing, And I'm just so excited. And I wanted to just say real quick before we end it that you probably don't know this, but you literally taught me what being a vessel was, the importance of it.
Oh wow.
Yes, I think you was telling me that. I want to say either the first or second time you sat in my chair.
I remember. Yes,
Yes.
I remember.
And Nick, I swear to you, keep doing whatever the F you're doing because that resonated with me. And that was my confirmation that I needed to do this wine glass conversation.
Mm. So I'm gonna be thanking God after this then, because this
Yes.
is what it's all about. I
Yes.
love God gave me a spirit of loving to see people win, love people, seeing
Yes.
people live in their purpose. Like
Yes.
everybody that worked with me when I was a leader for American Express, they come with those success stories, and I'm like,
Hmm.
this is what it's all about. And
It
I'm
brings
so
so much
it
joy.
does. That's my joy, seeing the intent be
Yeah.
fulfilled and the people realizing who they are and them winning.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. Yes. Listen, I promise you. I mean, it's bad, but I be like, where is Nick? Why he ain't booking an appointment yet? I ain't even thinking about doing your hair. I'm
Mind
like,
you,
I need
I
this
need
session. What is going
to.
on? Like,
Listen, I was gonna do it today, and I was like, oh wait, no. So trust me, I'm about to be calling you or going through
Yeah,
your app
yeah.
to set it up.
But it's crazy because but that's what shows, because it's more than me just doing your hair. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's more than that.
exactly.
I get is what I get from you, and you made me feel comfortable to really release. You know what I mean? And even though I am overall, but I know that with you, you're gonna bring me into a path where I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, I'm glad
I
I'm
ain't think
glad.
about it that way. And man, my hat's off to you. I love you
Thank
so
you.
much, Nick.
Thank you. And I
So
love you and thank you for having me.
you're so welcome. So basically, this is our last part, right? Basically, you just leave the people with a life gem and tell them what is going on with you, what's next, even if you don't want to really share what's next, you could just tell them what you have going on and where they can find you.
Well, I'll say what's next. I'm visualizing, and
Mm-hmm.
what's happening now is what I'm visualizing. Having the opportunity to speak to the world and
Mm-hmm.
having people connect with messaging that they say, you know what, I am bigger than what I probably think of myself. I am better than how I viewed myself. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
There is healing
yes,
that must happen in order to go
yes.
to a lot of levels. And sometimes we're afraid of that. So allow
Mm.
yourself the freedom to heal. Allow yourself the freedom to be honest about what
Mm.
has hurt you and what bothers you. When you do
Yes,
that, you will see different wonderful things start to manifest for you.
yes. I
And so for
love
me,
that.
that's what I'm doing. I'm living my purpose with my music. Stay tuned for my next song. It's called Money in the Bank. I have to say this. My
I
next
can't
single
wait
is
to hear
called Money
it.
in the Bank. And I was so scared to write that song because I was like, you taught don't be a bragger or a boaster. And I'm like, well, I'm not bragging or boasting. So I said, Lord, help me to write this song to where people will understand why I'm writing and doing a song
Mm.
called Money in the Bank.
In the
So there's a
bank.
story in it.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear it because I know you're gonna die. I know you're gonna go deep. I know you're gonna go deep. I can't
There's a
wait.
story in it.
Well,
So
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Nick. Let's cheers to an amazing
Thank you.
conversation and many,
Ooh, I
many,
think I got
many,
some
many
more.
more. You got a
Oh.
porter? And many, many, many more
Yes.
future endeavors, future projects that we gonna get to do together and bring the people in and just give them this good juice and wisdom. So let's
Yes.
definitely cheers to that.
Cheers. Self love, self
Mm.
help. Mm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I will see you
It's
soon.
good.
What is that?
Stella
Oh,
Rosa. It's
Stella
so
Rosa.
good.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
it's
I
good.
had that
But
last week.
okay.
I, I had
So
that
I'm gonna make
last
my
week.
appointment. I'll be seeing you
Okay.
soon.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
thanks
Blessings to
again.
you. Bye.
Later.